welcome back to another video of the Artist Morph. Today I want to talk about the different types of solar systems around different types of stars. So what I mean by is technically when like for example here I've got this Earth-like world in orbit around a brown dwarf. Now you're probably gonna like type in the comments, how the hell is this brown dwarf keeping this Earth-like world without freezing? In real life, brown dwarfs can actually have Earth-like worlds, but because the planets have to be really close to each other, like this is how close they are be, and you need when you got rocky planets this close to each other, you need a stabilizer. So why not take a gas giant and just plop it here? Yeah. But the thing about this gas giant is it's a capture gas giant, and the reason why we can tell it's a capture gas giant because it orbits in the opposite direction. Now, there's probably gonna be like some of you are probably gonna like say in the chats like, what if it was smacked really hard, like really hard by something that didn't destroy it but reversed its orbit. Now that can happen, but it's rare. I mean, you're smashing a planet into another planet and changing its orbit, like not just changing it by a little bit, you are reversing that planet. And this planet is big. It is big. So the planet that hit Earth was the size of Mars. That's Mars, right? You need something the size of like, no, not Neptune. You need something like, nope. You need something like this. Smack it in really hard and reverse its orbit. Now that's two ways this gas giant could have entered into orbit around this brown dwarf. One, it was captured. Two, it was hit really hard and its orbit was reversed. Now, with this gas giant going the opposite direction, what it's done is it's stabilized this system really well. So these planets can be as this close without really affecting each other, because this gas giant's gravity, because the gas giant's pretty close, its gravity reaches out and pulls on the rocky planets here so that they don't hit each other. And the gas giant, if I compare the size right now, the gas giant is actually pretty big compared to this object here, the parent. I'm going to call it a star. Alright, I'm going to call it a star. Because, why not? Because technically a brown dwarf is a star. It's just a star that doesn't have quite enough mass. So, this is just a random brown dwarf system. But, the habitable zone of a brown dwarf, this is a fairly bright brown dwarf, 2500 degrees. That's a really hot brown dwarf. That is. That's getting too like way too hot for a brown dwarf. Like the hottest, the most intense brown dwarf that we found so far, I think, is about 2100 degrees. So this is really hot. What this does is, it not only does it pump out radiation, makes a radiation ring around here, but it actually makes a habitable zone around, around the brown dwarf. Luckily, because I put all these planets in random places, I calculated the with the brown dwarf's temperature, mass. Surprisingly, rotation speed comes into it, but I was like, okay. So I put all these numbers in: 2,500 degrees, 1 day rotation for some odd reason, 1.77 times the mass of Jupiter. Most you could say that's not a brown dwarf. Yes it is. If a gas giant is the size of Jupiter or bigger, it is technically considered a brown dwarf if it does not orbit a star. If you guys know what I mean. So, if Saturn was alone, if Saturn was a rogue planet, it would not be considered a brown dwarf because, one, it's slightly smaller than Jupiter in diameter. Two, it is horrendously lighter than Jupiter. It's the lightest planet, just. And for three, it's not a brown dwarf. Let's just leave it as that. So, this is the smallest. Well, some. Oh God. Sorry, guys. I know I keep saying that some of you go type things in comments, but most likely some of you guys are gonna say this is probably a very, very young gas giant that was ejected from its system. It can happen, but how can it have pretty stabilized orbits? Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. And maybe I'm just completely crazy. But one, how can it have its own? They're not moons, okay? Because in 2017, our solar system went from 8 planets to 110. The reason is because the moon they changed how they classify an object in our solar system, and one of those classifications is that the object has to be round-ish. So Vesta is roundish, but they're not considered a planet. I'm not entirely sure. So the moon is a satellite planet. All the moons in our solar system are satellite planets. Okay, so right now, instead of having 4 planets, we would have in this system we had 7 because I mean the object here, if I can find it, there it is. Even though this object is smaller than the moon, it is round. Okay, so round objects are considered planets. Okay, now you're probably all wondering why, if this is technically a star, why are the planet's light side not facing the brown dwarf? Because the game does not put in the mechanic where if you have a brown dwarf in Universe Sandbox squared or 2 or whatever you want to call it, it doesn't act like a star. It acts more like a planet, like a superheated world. Like, seriously. But this brown dwarf, I'm calling it a brown dwarf because I want it. And it is a brown dwarf, okay? This object is supporting... I mean, look at this. Seriously, like... Why? But could you just see how close these planets are? Like, if I land on here and then I look up, look how close that is. That is stupidly close. That's closer than most of the moons in our solar system. That's close. That's about as close as Io is to Jupiter. So, we're going to move on to the next system now. System is slightly bigger. It's going to be an Lclass brown dwarf, so it's gonna be like this. If I can get it up right. Oh, just put that there. I'm gonna make this 79 Jupiters. There you go. 100% hydrogen. I'm gonna decrease its temperature. Or oh, there you go. Or I could just decrease its temperature, so it's gonna be about. I'm gonna put it around 1900 degrees. Okay. And then put habitable. Now this is a very flaring star. I mean, seriously, this is running at 1.29 hours a second, and look how many flares it's having. Like, this is stupid. This is horrendously stupid. This is really stupid. 0.0025. Boom. Okay, that's a little bit too small. Make it bigger, make it bigger. About there. So, technically, an Lclass brown dwarf is a supersized brown dwarf, where it's like literally on the edge of becoming a star. The biggest Lclass brown dwarf we found is about, if I am correct, and if I'm not, I apologize, but it's about 69.5 Jupiters in size. Now that's a pretty big Lclass brown dwarf, but an Lclass brown dwarf, it looks like a star, but it's not acting like a star. I mean, it looks like this, but compared to other stars, like for example Proxima Centauri, holy crap, or Wolf 359. So if I just stuck Wolf 359 in there, Wolf 359, even though it's 94.3 Jupiters in mass, it is brighter than this. So an Lclass brown dwarf is a brown dwarf, but it's like the bigger brother of like the I can't remember the characteristics of the brown dwarfs. The Y, the L, and I think it may be it's something else. T class. There you go. T class. So Y class is the coolest. T class is like the average temperature for brown dwarf, and then L class is like stupid. I mean, seriously, basically works like this: planet, 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 planet. Alright, just put those in for now. Speed this up slightly. I want this to have a 17-day rotation. No, you are spinning backwards. I don't want you to spin backwards. Sorry guys, I'm being a real pain right now, and I apologize for that. So this is what a Lclass brown dwarf system might look like. It's a little bit crazy. It could look something like this. I mean, this could be like crazy. Like this. That could be like that. And this could be like, I don't know, maybe like that. So it could be an absolute crazy system, but normally what's really surprising is, what I think surprising is, when we found all these like Lclass, T-class, and Y-class, and all the other class brown dwarfs, most of the time we found rocky planets. I mean, okay, we found like a couple of rocky planets around the hundreds, thousands of brown dwarfs we found. But we haven't really found any gas giants around these brown dwarfs, and that's really surprising because normally a brown dwarf is formed like a star, but it doesn't really form like a star. It forms like a star, but it doesn't have enough material, it doesn't have enough hydrogen to form a star, to form into a star. Normally you would have like a cloud of hydrogen around the what we call the frost line, and normally we see that around like what's the famous brown dwarf? I can't think of the name of the brown dwarf, but it's a brown dwarf with like a disc around it, and it's got rocky inner disc, and then on the outer edge it's like ice and gas and all that. So the weird thing is that it's either the gas giants kick each other out or they don't form at all. And if the first one is the case, then they should get rid of the rocky planets. But we see that the rocky planets are on stable-ish orbits, and that's really, really surprising. But I mean, sorry guys, that is just red. So this is actually what it would look like on one of these rocky worlds. It will be red as hell, like seriously red. It will be so red that I can't even like it'll basically it'll be so red that the plants that grow on a planet in the habitable zone will be most likely either really dark grey or black. Oh, yeah. Or really, really dark green. Or dark blue. Anyway, if they're any colour, it'll be really, really dark, because they would rely on the X-ray light or the infrared light that comes off of the brown dwarf, because because the brown dwarf will be red. Right. So think about this: you're on a planet around a pretty hot brown dwarf, like this brown dwarf right here, and as the sun rises, or the brown dwarf rises, it will be dim, but not so dim where you can't see anything. It will be like standing on the planet around TRAPPIST-1, but dimmer than that. Probably slightly dimmer than that. But the flares will be absolutely nothing. Like, seriously. But luckily for the planets orbiting the brown dwarf, the Lclass brown dwarf will create a heliosphere. But it won't be as strong as the normal stars, but it still be strong enough to like be like around sort of here. So that's still a pretty strong heliosphere, but the planet will be more basically it will get hit more by gamma rays and all that crap. But yeah. Oh, the water has started to dry up on this planet. Don't want that. But again, most likely, again with the... I'm not going to make the planets tidally locked in the system, but the chances of the planets being tidally locked around an Lclass brown dwarf are high, because they are so close to the brown dwarf. Now, I'm probably going to get hit for this for not putting a gas giant in, and I apologise, but I don't want to put a gas giant in because I don't want people ripping into me saying that you shouldn't put that gas giant in because normally a gas giant doesn't form around an Lclass brown dwarf. But if it turns out that a gas giant does form around a Lclass brown dwarf, then I will certainly make another video on this system, and that is one hell of a name I just realised up right here. But I will put a gas giant around the system. And with all the wacky orbits, like seriously, like this planet orbits in an odd orbit. But normally, the inner rocky planets will be stable-ish. The middle rocky planets will be slightly less stable, and then the outer rocky planets, like in the blue zone, will be all over the place. Because it's either the gas giants have had a game of ping pong, and they flung each other out, and one of them has come close. So, for example, if I take Neptune, one of them has come in, come close, and they got slingshotted away, and that's disturbed the rocky planets. Or, maybe they got hit by another planet? I don't know. But this brown dwarf, it won't last as long as a red dwarf, but it'll probably last as long as, like, in between that. Probably because an Lclass brown dwarf is so big and it's so close to becoming a star, it will probably create some kind of nuclear fusion, like probably deuterium into hydrogen. But wouldn't that make it turn into a star the more hydrogen it has? Because then the brown dwarf would get bigger. No, wouldn't it? No. But I'm probably going to see a lot of comments in the comment section below, like asking me like, what is deuterium? Deuterium is basically the simple, ultra simple form of hydrogen. When you get two deuterium atoms and smash them together, you create hydrogen. Hydrogen 1, I think it is. And then two hydrogen 1 atoms form hydrogen 2 and hydrogen 2. Basically, without deuterium, we wouldn't have any stars. I mean, we would have stars, but not the amount of stars that we see today. Let's move on to the next star. Okay, let's move on to a red dwarf. It's like 97 times. Okay, this is going to be a no. Okay, so basically, this is a red dwarf. Red dwarfs are dangerous. Don't mess with them. They will most likely disturb your day, disturb your planet, just mess everything up. But there is some good news. Some red dwarfs can develop gas giants because they are big enough to. This is where Lclass brown dwarfs struggle. Because an Lclass brown dwarf can't create the solar wind that it needs, some of the ice spirals in and makes almost like this rocky, icy mixture that creates super Earths around it, but they are 50-50 ice and rock. With a red dwarf, that don't happen. A red dwarf is a star. It's a full-fledged star, okay? Basically what that means is, hang on, what if I change that? Oh. Okay. Let's come and talk. So when you've got like the big disc rotating around, or accreting around the red dwarf, the red dwarf turns on, and it creates a massive solar wave or solar shock wave, where it blows away the gas, and then that forms like the icy mixture for the gas giants, but it leaves like the metals and the alloys and all the rock and everything in the inner solar system. So what you have behind is you can have a system similar to ours, but the star will be a red dwarf. So you could have something like this. Oh no. You could have a very, very stable system. And what I mean by is something like, let me just take this planet real quick. Something like this, right? So it could look something ever so similar to this. The planets might be wacky and everything, but the planet's really, 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 really close to the star. Maybe called something tightly locked, like I talked about the Lclass dwarf. So you could have a brown dwarf. It's a bit weird. It actually has a bigger green zone than like the bigger stars. So basically, what it means is they could be super habitable. With gas giants as well. The gas giant moons could be habitable as well, but gas giant satellite planets. Sorry, my apologies. I'm still trying to get used to it. Now let's move on to the next star. It will be what we call as an orange dwarf. Now I'm a bit upset because nobody really talks about orange dwarf stars. Now orange dwarfs range from 275 times the mass of Jupiter to 750 times the mass of Jupiter. We're going to go in between. We're going to go at about 425 times the mass of Jupiter. This star is going to be slightly more kicky. What I mean by that is when it's really young, it's going to make something what we call as we got it. When I promise I tried to do research on orange dwarfs. I didn't find a lot, and I apologise if I didn't find a lot. Orange dwarfs are some of the more mysterious stars because astronomers don't talk about them that much. I find orange dwarfs to be the stable star, like it's in between of a red dwarf and a yellow dwarf. Our star is a yellow dwarf, and if somebody wants to say that the sun is not a yellow dwarf, it's a white star, I'm sorry to say, but it is a yellow dwarf because the sun does not fit in the white star category because white stars are 2 to 5 times the size and mass of the sun. Right, moving on. What's an orange dwarf? An orange dwarf is a hybrid in between of a red dwarf where it's incredibly magnetic, very explosive with solar flares and everything. And then a yellow dwarf where it lasts for about 10 to 20 billion years. Now our sun, it's been going for the past 4.56 billion years, 4.57. but it can go on for the next 7 to 11 billion years more. Not 5 billion, 7 to 11. So in between of 7 to 11 billion years. While orange dwarfs can go from 30 billion years to about 170 billion years, 180 billion years. Really, really long. It depends on the size. If the orange dwarf, so I'm going to call this orange dwarf star. There you go, orange dwarf star. Basically, I'm really hyped up because I'm talking about orange dwarfs. I mean, orange dwarfs fascinate me. They really do. They're one of those stars where they are more mysterious than the black hole. Literally, I'm not even joking. I think of these stars every time I start talking about star classes. They are odd stars. They are really odd stars because basically they get crammed with planets. Like seriously, they get absolutely butchered by planets. Like all the time. Like seriously, like all these planets just take up the space. And just look at this. Like seriously. And then here comes the big bullies of the system. Douche, 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 douche. Orange dwarf system can become incredibly compact. We don't know why an orange dwarf becomes incredibly compact. There is a famous orange dwarf. I can't remember his name. I think it's Kepler something. It's Kepler 2 something. But this orange dwarf does have a couple of rocky planets around it, and it does have 3 gas giants around it, 3 Neptune-sized planets. An orange dwarf can be stupidly crammed. It can actually the standard planet amount around an orange dwarf when an orange dwarf is born is more than our solar system. So when our solar system was born, we had loads of objects, nearly 1,000 planets I think we had. An orange dwarf can have from 1,000 planets to 10,000 planets. I mean, it's a stupid amount of planets. I mean, 10,000 planets in a tiny, like, space like this. That is a horrific. I can't even imagine the collisions. Like, it would just be collisions all over the place. I don't understand why red dwarfs don't make systems that are super erratic. Because really they should. Orange dwarf. An orange dwarf, just like yellow dwarf and red dwarf, is super habitable as well. I don't know why. I don't know what is up with the dwarf stars. I think it must be something to do with their age, like how long they last for. But an orange dwarf, if you have an orange dwarf that lasts for 150 billion years, you can have multiple planets. Even the entire solar system could be habitable. Like, look at all the planets in the habitable zone right now. Like, it ranges from here to all the way to here. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 7 Earth-sized Earth-sized planets in this system, in the Goldilocks zone. And they are all stable. Look at this. They are all stable. Every single one. The inner planets are starting to become a little bit more crazy. These two might actually collide within the next 100 years or something like that, or 100,000 years. But this is definitely the star that we need to look for. But the systems, if we do fly to a newborn orange dwarf systems, we are going to have to watch our backs, because planets will be flinging all over the place. Literally, it'll be probably 10 times worse than what our solar system experienced. And don't get me started with the gas giant collisions, because our solar system has witnessed hundreds of gas giant collisions when it was first born. And now we move on to the star class that we know the best. And I'm going to get our favourite star out, the Sun. Now, G-class star, so yellow dwarf star. And again, like I said, if anybody wants to argue about them saying no, the Sun is a white main sequence star, it is not. It has been confirmed. It is a yellow main sequence dwarf star. If you want to see a white star, that's your white star. That is the size of a white star. The Sirius is a white star. Can I get another white star? No, that's blue. White main sequence star. That's another white main sequence star. This is another white main sequence star. Yellowish white star. There you go. Orange main sequence star. There you go. Orange giant. Okay. But yes, orange. Oh, okay. No, don't want that. That's a luminous hypergiant. But white main sequence stars are bigger, and this is a white subgiant. Okay. Blue. No, I don't want to look at blue. But oh, that's a white dwarf. Okay. Oh, there's a white dwarf. Okay. Yellowish white main sequence star. But white main sequence stars are bigger than the yellow dwarf. Okay. So that we got that out of the way. What is a yellow dwarf? Good question, everybody. Alpha Centauri A is also a yellow dwarf. I don't know why they got Alpha Centauri B as an orange dwarf, because 950 Jupiters, that will be considered as a yellow dwarf star, unless I'm completely wrong. I will have to look that up. Oh, look at that! Alpha Centauri B has a planet. I never knew that. Proxima Centauri? Proxima B. Okay. And the solar system that we all know and love. Oh my god, look at all this. Give it a bit now. Go away. Thank you. I'm not seeing any more. But
You okay?
What's that? Red giant? How is that a red giant? That's not a red giant, seriously. Okay. So let's move on to yellow dwarf. So we are at yellow dwarf. Yellow dwarf is the star that we see in the sky every day. That's it. No, I'm a chicken. Yellow dwarf ranges from about 5,000 degrees surface temperature to about nearly 6,000 degrees Celsius. Alpha Centauri is, yeah, it is bigger. But basically, okay, so let's get this up. We're using our sun, because I mean, why not? So yellow dwarfs can have much more space. They really do. They have much more space, and they have calmer systems. I know that sounds like an absolute joke, but they do have calmer systems. They do have more space between the systems as well, so they can have much more lived planets, and it really does work at times. So it could be something like this. I'm gonna play it and I'm gonna let it run for a while. Now, this could be your typical yellow dwarf system. Now, we have found thousands of yellow dwarfs with gas giants that orbit really, really close. Like, something like the mass of, like, let's take 51 Pegasus and just stick it right there. Now, 51 Pegasus is absolutely gigantic. I mean, seriously, this thing is huge. But that is literally what you're going to find around a yellow dwarf. Most of the time, you're going to find a giant gas giant really close to its parent yellow dwarf star. Now, why we have 4 gas giants that haven't moved in is a bit odd, but at the same time it's not odd, because most of the time the reason why we find just 1 gas giant in between, like really close to its star, is because it's the only gas giant that formed in its system. We were really lucky that Saturn formed just after Jupiter formed, because Saturn saved Jupiter from, because basically Jupiter formed here, right? Jupiter formed about here, and it starts spiraling, and as it starts spiraling, right, Saturn came in from behind, eating all the material in its way, and saved Jupiter, because all the material was around here, right, and it's slowing Jupiter down, so Jupiter was getting closer and closer and closer and closer to the sun until it's resigned in its orbit today, and it's about here, isn't it? I think it is, or about here. So Saturn saved Jupiter from fiery death. And that's why sometimes we find gas giants really close to their stars, because they are the only gas giants that form in their system. Now, for example, right, if 51 Pegasus formed together with another gas giant, the likelihood of it being around like this close, it will drop dramatically. It will most likely be on like, it will most likely be on this type of orbit, so it won't be as hot. So also, this also gives the planets the perfect habitat to have moons around them. So like this planet could have like multiple moons around them, like this, and then the closer one in could have a moon around it. So something like this, something like this. But yellow dwarfs, they're kind of they're interested in the area. And now it starts becoming really weird, because now we get to something called a I'm not. They haven't been. If you haven't heard this type of star, you can do some research, but there's a type of star called a red subgiant. Normally, it ranges from 1.5 suns to 2.2 suns. So we're gonna go like in the middle, 1.8 suns. We're gonna drop its temperature. Huh. I want that locked. Oh no. So normally they're around 3,000 degrees Celsius. So 3,000 degrees Celsius. So something like this, right? So very energetic red subgiant. So I'm going to call it a red subgiant star, so that you guys don't get confused. Very, even though they are red, they are incredibly luminous. They are highly, like they're really, like it's like a really annoyed dog. I know that's weird, but hey. Most likely, a red subgiant will just have gas giants. So something like this, and this, and this, and this, and this. So something like this. But they are incredibly luminous objects. They are so luminous, for example, that basically it's really odd. A red subgiant it's a very it's not a very dense star, but it's a dense star that it didn't. It's odd. I'm trying to explain it where some of you guys can actually understand it. Basically, it's like a supergiant star that shrunk down to where it's like 3 to 5 times the radius of the sun, but it's still a very energetic and highly luminous star. It is stupidly luminous. So this could be like your red subgiant system. I mean, you could have hundreds of gas giants around here. Like, you could have literally loads. So I mean, it's it could be absolutely swarmed, but unfortunately, because the stellar winds from the red subgiant are so strong, it would not just blow away the ice and gas. It would most likely, you might find the odd like probably 2 rocky planets, but other than that, you most likely not gonna have any more than that. Most likely these will be tiny. Like, I'm talking like something like probably 12 to like 24 times the mass of Earth. Well, not 24, but like 30 times. Look, 25 times the mass of the moon. I apologise. I really do apologise for that. But if you do find rocky planets around a red subgiant star, they will be very small objects. But the gas giants will most likely be absolutely humongous. I'm talking to like from 1 times the mass of Jupiter to something like a crazy 10 times the mass of Jupiter. But they'll be huge. But a red subgiant star. It's all. It's it's really wild. It really is. So the next star we're gonna have is we're gonna like take the sun, plop it there. We're gonna take this. We're gonna orange subgiant star. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do this as like 5.57 times the mass. Oh, for God's sake! I apologise for that, guys. Now let's get this then. 5.57 times. 1 times. Oh, for God's sake! I apologise, guys. I seriously, I'm having trouble with this. Let's just do it like this then. So, basically, a orange subgiant will most likely be a very. It will be like orange, but it will be a highly dangerous star to be around because it will be having flares that will be so energetic. It will be killer. So if we just leave it as that, orange subgiant star, get rid of that and put this as like 4,500. Oof, you're crazy. $3,000. Okay, 3,500. Oh, we just leave it as that. So I can't make it any brighter because obviously it's just like messing itself up. No, okay, I'll have it. And it shrinks down to an absolute pinpoint. But basically, an orange subgiant is a red subgiant, but a lot more meteor. 3,000, 4,000, 4,000, 4,000. We're going somewhere. Just carry on doing this. So guys, we are getting somewhere. Alright, there you go. What did you get as that? So, orange subgiant and star. Okay, so this is your orange subgiant star. It is. The thing is that 3. Okay, that is a stupid. 3,700. Ah, for God's sake. Okay, let's move on to the next one because that's obviously not going to work. So let's get this. So this is going to be like. It's a 1,400. Okay. Make this bigger. Bigger. So a yellow subgiant is. It's a really. It's a lot bigger than what we thought it would be. We thought it might be just slightly bigger than the sun, but really it's huge. It's absolutely massive. We're talking something like 5,500. No, it just wants to shrink down to a point. Okay. Okay, so let's do this. Sun. 7 times the mass. Make that as like, I don't know, 8. Oh, for God's sakes! I apologize, guys. It's just not. Hell is this? Oh, go away. Why is that moving? I don't want that to move. So something like that. And then hopefully 6 times the mass. Oh, it's got to form to a Nova Remnant, isn't it? Okay, that's a pretty big. So we leave it as that. How big is that compared to the sun? Don't want to know. That's too big. How big is that now? Okay, that's. Get rid of that. Oops. Oh God, why is that? This is your average yellow dwarf. So yellow, not yellow dwarf. Sub. Are you joking me right now? Are you absolutely joking me right now? Oh. This is just stupid. Okay, thank you. No. 2.6. Oh, there you go. Thank you. No. Okay. Yellow Subgiant star. So this is your yellow Subgiant star. So what's a yellow Subgiant? A yellow Subgiant is basically, it's like a yellow supergiant, but shrunk down to the size of like a couple times the radii of the sun. But it is a phenomenally energetic star. Basically this lives, die young. And the average lifespan for this star is it ranges from 500 million years to about 2 billion years. So right now this star should be dead, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this might last until like 1 billion years. So this is like 2/3 through its life. Well, halfway through its life, sorry. So again with for God's sakes, again with what we did with the orange dwarf, well, what we tried to do with the orange dwarf, because the solar winds are so strong around this star, you will have most likely gas giants that are like, oh, I didn't mean to put that there, I apologise, that are like something like this. So from like upper orbit you may see something like this. If you imagine putting trails on, there will be absolutely no way a rocky planet could form around here. It will get absolutely cooked to death by radiation. Because this yellow subgiants create the absolute biggest coronal mass ejections a small star can create. I mean, seriously, every time one of these coronal mass ejections hits any planet around a yellow subgiant, it will literally not just strip it off its atmosphere, it will most likely just, it will vaporize its crust or its upper atmosphere if it's a gas giant. So these gas giants over millions of years will get smaller and smaller. That's if this yellow subgiant continuously misses them. Now, a yellow subgiant can have a large collection of ice giants because basically any gas giant closer than this, well, this gas giant's a little bit too close, but any gas giant closer than this will get absolutely fried. And if you look at the star like now, look at this star. This is stupid. This is so energetic right now. So what this does is, if you could imagine having the sun make it 5 to 7 times or 5 to 9 times the size it is now, but still have it pretty small, but maybe have it within 5 to 8 times the radii of the sun, and then make it about 5 to 6,000 degrees centigrade on its surface, you got yourself a yellow subgiant. And I'll tell you something, you do not want to be around this star when it has a mega flare. They're not very prone to mega flares, but when it does have a mega flare, it will be horrendous. It will absolutely vaporize everything around it. Probably even like a radius of this, but it will create like a bubble, like look like a nebula, but it will not be as colourful. But the star will be, it will turn from yellow to blue because it will be generating X-rays and it will just cook everything. So if any of these gas giants had, like, say, this gas giant right here, right? Say it had a moon around it. Okay. So something like this, okay? And this moon was probably slightly smaller than Earth, but it had liquid water on it. And a decent temperature. So something like this. This, probably if a star like this is prone to a mega flare, like say every 100,000 years, this planet will get absolutely cooked to death, because every time a mega flare shockwave hits this planet, it will strip the atmosphere away and just make it inhospitable. The gas giant that it orbits will probably heat up to about 1,000 degrees and everything, but in the end you ain't gonna have any life around subgiant stars. So I mean, we could move on to like We could move on to like white subgiants, blue subgiants, but like 7,000. 7,000. 7,000. 7,000. 7,000. 7,000. So I'm talking about something like this. And this, I know this is boring, but if I did it the other way, most likely you just make the star shrink. So something like this, right? So this is your white subgiant, and it will be a, just forget the mass, because the mass doesn't want to work, but this will, the age limit for this star is 1 billion years. 1 billion. 1 billion, okay? So this star only lives for 1 billion years. Probably less than that. It's probably about 800 million or 900 million. But these stars are incredibly energetic. Again, like the yellow subgiants and the orange subgiants. And these are very, very explosive stars. The furthest a planet can form is about here. So you will most likely find a couple of gas giants orbiting around this star. But they will most likely just be absolutely vaporized. They will probably have lost most of their hydrogen. So they may look something like this. Oh, okay. In the end, I mean, these planets will just be cooked so much that they will lose everything. They will be cooked until there is nothing left. And this star is, oh my god, that star is seriously just cooking. I mean, this star is really, really hot. It's 6,500 degrees. That's slightly warmer than the sun, but this is a a white subgiant. So a white subgiant, and a white subgiant is a bit of a non-star because it's smaller than a blue giant, but it is so much more luminous. It is so much more brighter. It is so bright, for example, like if we turn all this off and then move away, like say about here, like how far away is this? That's 166 light years, okay? This outshines every other star that we see here. Like, I think that's a galaxy. Okay? If this was further, if this is about 1,000 light years away, like 156 light years away, and it's brighter than like Sirius or Rigel. Like seriously, like it's stupid. I will put this back on. So, oh, did I go past them? Yeah, I did. Okay, don't know why their names weren't popping up. I'm not sure if that Habblestone's moving or not. Or is it just me? It's probably just me. So this star is aging fast. 2.11 to the power of E plus 11. That's crazy. So basically this star is really close to being dead. Yeah. So this star will probably like blow up until it's about like let me get a famous until it's not like this size. It will scorch these gas giants to death. It'll probably be something like this. It will just absolutely vaporize. Wait, I think Betelgeuse is bigger. Is Betelgeuse bigger? It's cooler. But it will swell up. Instead of being like 490, no, 4 million kilometers in radii. Oh, what's that saying? Sun. 7.05. Okay. So instead of being like 4 million kilometers, it will probably swell up to be about 400 million. No, about 40 million kilometers. So it would be humongous. It will be massive. And these gas giants will be absolutely cooked. But these gas giants might not even be around the star by the time it reaches that stage, because the star will probably absolutely vaporize the atmospheres and then move on to their cores and everything like that. So that is the oh, bloody hell. So I'll get rid of those and then I'll just put a random star. Right. Again with this star, a Hablstone doesn't pop up, but this star will be. It will be now a blue sub. I'm gonna call it hyper because that's what some of them call them. Giant, a blue sub hyper giant, or I'll just call it a blue giant for now. A blue subgiant. I didn't want to call it a blue hyper giant because a blue sub hyper giant because I didn't want to upset some people, so I'll just leave it as blue subgiant. Very right now this star is probably halfway through its life already. These stars do not live for long. These stars cannot hold any planets. So if I had a planet there, and just let it run. Whoa! Kilometers. I'll turn that down. So this gas giant will most likely lose all of its hydrogen, all of its like gaseous atmosphere, and it will just leave the core behind, and the core will be absolutely scorched. So we're talking something like, we can't see it that well. So I have to move this closer. So it'll be something like, it will also be probably tidally locked as well. But we can expect to see so many different things. But this planet, this star will most likely it won't really be able to retain any planets because its mega flares will be stupidly bright. Even though this star glows blue right now. Let's see how far this gets away. That's 300. That's about 400 light years. 200 light years. So when this star has a mega flare, it will like get so bright, it will be like, it'll be something like this, for example. Excuse me. It will be so bright. It will be horrendously bright. But I mean, these. If a planet does survive around this, it will be battered, it will be scorched, it will be burnt, it will be vaporized, it will be it will just be sandblasted. It will be blasted by radiation from the star every time it has a mega flare. So that's where I really want to stop with this episode right now. Because right now, all I can say is the biggest stars, they're not gonna last that long. I mean, this star is already halfway through its life, and it's a subgiant. So anyway guys, I hope that you liked this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. And if you want to like chat about any type of star you would like, please feel free to find me on Discord or just put it in the comment section below. But again, thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.